FTI Community, I am joined by a long-time multi-platform content creator. He is a part of the worldwide collective known as N10. He is a 2022 Creator U alumni. He has been creating for over 9 years and currently has over 1,100 subscribers on YouTube. He is a longtime FTI Community member, and just like the previous guest before him, somebody that I am honored to call a great friend. FTI Community, please help me welcome KnightSky to the In Your Studio podcast. How is your day treating you, my friend?
Hey man, what's going on? First off, you said 1,100. I was like, is that right? And then I was, oh, that's just 1,000. But like, I've never heard people say 1,100 before. But so I thought there was more too. I was like, oh, where'd this come from? But but I mean, I'm doing great. Today's a really good day so far. Off from work, thankfully, so I was able to relax and get. I mean, obviously, there's a bunch of stuff I had to get done, including some video edits. But I'm here now, so thank you for having me on, man. It's awesome, and looking forward to our discussion today.
Hell yeah, brother. As we're recording right now, the Nintendo Switch 2 has been out for 1 week. And that first week flew by. I've seen myself revisit a lot of my Switch 1 games because honestly, that's kind of like what you have to do right now because there's not a lot of Switch 2 games out. But I've been enjoying the hell out of it. How is your Switch 2 experience going so far?
I mean, honestly, same thing. It does not feel like it's been a whole week already. Well, for starters, I can definitely say that revisiting a lot of my old Switch 1 games is also something I've been doing as well. Just because, like, just see the difference in quality. It's so weird to think about it. Like, I know, prime example you probably know of, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet looks like a completely different game. I would not have expected a Pokemon game ever to look like that and to run that smoothly. And I mean, I played all of like I had Violet and I played through all of it, you know, graphic bugs and all. So it feels weird, but also really cool to play like that. But other than that, I've been having a really good time with it. Mario Kart's also a blast. Like, been having oodles of fun with that, man. It's so awesome.
Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, I remember telling my brother, like, I'll pick it up when they like patch it in, and then like the patch never happened, so I kind of just put it on the back burner. Yeah. And now that it kind of just runs natively so damn well, I'm so excited to jump in because I'm not someone who like goes for graphics per se, but a frame rate dipping can definitely get to me. I played Breath of the Wild on launch day on the Wii U at midnight because I didn't have a Switch. And
oh man.
My guy, that was pain.
Ooh, isn't that wild to think that like Breath of the Wild is now a fully complete game 2 consoles generations later after the Wii U? They announced this thing, it was supposed to be the big Wii U Zelda game. And then kicked it off, came out on Switch 1, played well, but not the greatest. But now here you are with like 4K, full HD graphics, and you're just like full, like, I was 120 frames or something. And like, it plays like the most solid game you've ever seen. But it's like just 2 years. How many years is that between that? That's really 10 years, 10 plus years later.
It is going crazy. I remember that came out. I was in grade 12. So that is almost 10 years ago. Wow. I saw a meme this morning that said Breath of the Wild is the equivalent of Skyrim now. And I was like, oh, like, what do you mean? There are so many releases of Breath of the Wild.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Getting into everything that I want to talk about with you today, I want to finally say this, and I've been waiting to say this since you were a Creator of the Week, is you fit the FTI aesthetic so well, because it's all like galaxy space, like Atlas, and then once KnightSky, like once you were a Creator of the Week, I really thought like, damn, that goes like hand in hand. It's gonna be really easy to like connect the two. And this journey between you and I, FTI and KnightSky, goes way back, but we're gonna go even further back than that because you have such an interesting and inspiring journey as a creator. From your first video on YouTube, which I have so much respect for you, where you had your Smash Wii U Meta Knight Let's Play video. But my friend, what I want to talk about is in 2014, I did the same thing, but I played Brawl. So to like do the research on this one and see you kind of have the same setup, I was like, oh my God, hell yeah. Which I assume it was recorded by like a camera prompted up on something, to the present day where you've created an arsenal of videos that range from video essays, challenges, collaborations, vlogs like Nintendo New York the other week, and you're almost a daily streamer on Twitch. You've not only excelled in content creation, but in the last 9 years, you've built 2, not just 1, but 2 communities, your separate community being KnightSky, and then the N10 collective. you've grown tremendously as a person, and I would say like your journey so far is almost at the 10-year mark, but you've done things that people would have done in like 20 to 25 years. But for all those friends that do not know the man behind the persona, introduce us to KnightSky.
Well, I mean, you said it all there, man. That's the most butter I've ever felt in my life. But seriously, thank you for that. But even before all that, like you're right. I'm next year will be 10 years of KnightSky, and that doesn't even feel real to me. That I've done so much and with so many other people and met so many people like even throughout those 10 years. But I mean, just going back, and first off, major respect to you as well. I didn't know that your first video was Brawl on a kind of that same setup. I actually used my iPhone 8 as the camera, and I had it. So I had a tripod. I think I still have it somewhere, but it didn't have like a phone holder. So what I did was I actually took duct tape and just taped it to the top of and I sat behind on my coffee table. And then I think at one point in the video, you can actually see like when the screen goes black, you can see my reflection in the TV. I'm just like, oops. So I kept silent because I didn't want to say anything about it. But no, that video, I mean, I still have it up because obviously it's my first video ever. And I mean, I like to think also it's a really true sign of how far I've come in my content and just like what I've been doing since then. But overall, like the last 10 years, I mean, almost last 10 years have been an amazing journey, something that I could not have anticipated when I made that first video. Honestly, I really just didn't expect to not only one, like continue to make stuff like that, but two, like I said before, meet so many people like yourself and just interact with so many other online communities that I would be able to, not only incorporate that in my own content, but just also be involved as much as I can in these other communities as well. So it's crazy, honestly, really crazy to think about.
What I really appreciate about a lot of people's journeys is the hunger and like the want to like start, because like there's so many people that want like the perfect scenario to line up. Like they need like the highest equipment, they need all like the cards to fall into their hands perfectly. But for like the true go-getters and the people that are really passionate about something, they'll do exactly what you did, like a tripod with duct tape to record what you're passionate about. Because although online you're like a content creator under the name KnightSky, it all stems from who you are as a person who's an avid like video game fan, pop culture fan. You really do give off the traits and the qualities of like connecting with everyone. Where did that stem from to kind of like pick up your, I guess, like your camera or even like your first video game?
So I talked about these video games a while back, like an old video I did as well. But when I was a kid, I had 3 older sisters, and they grew up big video game fans, Nintendo fans, PlayStation, Xbox. And one of them, I think at the time, I think my older sister, Nicole, she had just gotten a Wii, or at least she had it for maybe like a year or so. Because they were a bit older than me, so they obviously had more games before I knew what video games were. And I still am trying to remember the story 100%, but I do remember this is when I think they were like staying with us for like a little bit. She had her Wii with her, and she was playing New Super Mario Brothers Wii in the basement with my other sister and then my brother, I'm pretty sure. And I remember I went downstairs, I saw what they were doing. I had no idea what was going on. But I thought it looked so cool, and they were like, "Oh, like you gotta go play with this." So I played a little bit, played on the Wiimote. I loved it. I mean, I probably died at least maybe like 5 times or something, as you do in Mario Bros. But from that moment on, like I just something connected with, especially Nintendo as well. I think that's I mean, it's really only the kind of the game that I feel like they would really let me play anyway, just because for PlayStation and for Xbox, there's a lot of other older games too, or games for a lot of older people. But I think because of Nintendo, that really made me appreciate just gaming even more. Like I won't play it as much as like Nintendo games, but I'll play PC, Xbox, PlayStation. But after that moment really just kind of set me on that path of, hey, I know what video games are. I want to play them. I want to have my own. That's how I ended up later on in the couple of years after I got my first DS, I got a DS Lite. Then I also got my own Wii, so on and so forth. I've had every console since the Wii and the DS Lite at that point.
Good, okay.
So ever since that time, whether I bought it or I got it as a gift or whatever, I've always had some sort of Nintendo console. And I've loved every second playing it. And honestly, I think these days too, like I know I said it's been almost 10 years. I feel like I've kind of strayed a little bit away from like mainly covering Nintendo stuff as much as I used to. Getting back into it now with the Switch 2. But because of that, I think I always credit going back to that day of just, that's how I fell in love with Nintendo. learning about Mario. Then I led to stuff about learning about Pokemon, Zelda, even more later on when I was in middle school. I discovered Splatoon because that's what the hot new game was at the time. And even now, like there's a lot of Nintendo games that or series that I really never really played before that I'm interested in. Like a prime example of that is Metroid.
Yes.
And seeing how like dedicated that fan base in, and even with one of my good friends, N10 Cisco is also an N10. He's a huge, an avid Metroid fan and really loves talking about that series. It's really intrigued me and really wanted me to try out these games for myself that, you know, I probably wouldn't have never done if I, you know, one, didn't meet him, and two, not be a Nintendo fan at the whole start of it.
I think what's really cool about N10 is just how different you guys are in terms of like the games you guys enjoy, but it always comes back to like sharing your love for like not only video games but like life experiences with each other, because you're always silently pushing each other, like with like Litz and like Linkachu, Key and Dag and all of the other friends in N10. It's really inspiring to just see like how a Nintendo based community really drove into like a brotherhood on different parts of the world, which I'm going to talk a lot about with you because
Yeah.
I really enjoy the N10 collective, especially like Cisco on the old FTI in quotations. He was on an In Your Studio podcast from way back when, and I just still to this day remember how enthusiastic he was to talk, and not only about video games, but like his relationship with you, with Litz. I know that being a content creator, it can be really tricky, and I'm always trying to find like the polite way to say this because almost everybody can be a content creator nowadays, and it kind of creates like this infinite pool where it's hard to like stand out. But for you, since day one, it's been abundantly clear that you're not like producing content to produce content. You're sharing your love for what you do and for what really makes you happy with others, whether it's Nintendo, hanging out with friends both online and in person, the vlogs and everything in between. I feel like if there was no camera involved, you'd still be doing you every day. There'd be nothing changed. Take us back to the beginning of like the KnightSky journey, or like earlier days where you're like, okay, I'm running with this until the wheels fall off.
Yeah, sure. Oh man, so 2016 is when I originally made the channel, and I'm trying to think what really. It was in October. October 12th was the day that I made the channel, because I remember I think it was around the 5-year anniversary of my channel. I think remember you helped out with all the promo for that. But there I think I was somehow mixed up the dates and I thought it was the 13th, but the 13th is actually my first video. The 12th is when I made the channel. I really don't remember why I picked that day. I think it was literally just like a spur of the moment of like, yeah, I guess I should just start a channel or something. But I don't. There's a lot of like not history, but like kind of like small stuff that went into the name KnightSky. Part of it was because, you know, it was, I'll be honest here. Part of it was because of a school crush. You know, it's a little bit, little part of it. The other part of it was also just because I really love like the space kind of galaxy vibe, if you will. I think that's also a big part of it, and just like the name. You know, I try to tell this whenever I talk to people about it. I'm not trying to toot my own horn or be like so like egotistical, but I just think KnightSky is just a cool name.
1,000,000%. Yes. Agreed.
And when you throw in the K there, it's not just KnightSky, but it's also like, you know, Meta Knight.
Yes.
That's also a big reason why I love Meta Knight as a character. I think he's one of my favorite Nintendo characters ever, or just video game characters in general. So I really want to incorporate that. But in terms of the actual videos, I did that Smash Bros. Video because I wanted to obviously show off the Wii U games I had at the time. I had a whole plan. I'm sure when you saw the video, I was like, oh yeah, we're going to do daily playthroughs. We're going to do some vlogs. We're going to do some reactions. We're going to play a bunch of Wii U games. I think my next video after that wasn't until like the year after, unfortunately. I think mostly because I was just like, one, I had to pick a good time to record. I think the reason why that worked out so well is because one, no one was home, and like I still to this day, like I'm sure a lot of people out there probably feel the same way. If you are a content creator who want to be one, but being in front of a camera, especially when there are other people around, you know, you're kind of your self-awareness really goes up. So that way you're trying to think like, oh, like I don't want to look like a goof, not only in front of these guys, but also like in front of the people around me. Same thing with vlogs too. Like even when I was in New York just recently for the Nintendo store in Chicken Dog, there were moments where I was just like, I'm holding the camera and I'm just like, oh, like, you know, I'm getting glances from people. Some people are kind of talking like, oh, what's that guy doing there? But I mean, I'm not like 100% bothered by it, but like it's still just very much like, don't worry, it's like just background noise. Keep on doing what you're doing. And even back then too, like I I had the same approach where it's just like, you know what, people, they're gonna say what they're gonna say. If they're watching, that's great. If not, who cares? I'm just right now, it's just be in the camera. That's what I try to learn. That's also something I try to tell a lot of people. Like when I stream, I get a couple people ask me like, "Hey, I'm interested in starting a channel," or "Hey, I want to do streams or whatever. Do you have any advice or whatever?" And the first thing I say is get comfortable with the camera, because it's not like, right now, obviously I can see your face, I can hear your voice, but when you're talking to a camera in a recording or a stream, all you really see is just text on a screen, and also just whatever that red light is or whatever, blue light, whatever you want to call it. That's all you really have. So you have to be
Yes.
able to be comfortable with yourself to know that, one, you can do whatever you want. There's no set way to talk to a camera. You can be your own self. You can put on a persona if you want. But as long as you're comfortable with yourself and talking to essentially no one in the room with you, I think that's kind of the best way to go. So maybe people might call you crazy, but I think it works.
That's definitely like the content creator mentality too, because like specifically going in on like you a chat, you and the camera, like your first impression probably is given at least 50 times per stream about people who are lurking, haven't followed. And like when I used to Twitch stream, I found it exhausting to make sure I was talking all the time, because I was just like, oh, if somebody comes in, I might lose them if I'm quiet. So getting comfortable with the camera and like having like that background noise of like having a conversation with yourself without coming off crazy, like there's a lot that goes into that people don't even know, because if they come into a silent stream, you could be number one at any game, you could hold the world record. They stay for the person playing it 9 times out of 10.
Yes.
And the 1
100%.
time out of 10 is kind of like the scale, the speed run and such. But I digress. I really, really, really appreciate what you do, and like what Mega Matt does is the moment somebody enters like the chat, you make sure everybody knows that, oh, there's someone new in the chat. I want to like welcome them in, even if they're new, 100th time in the chat, 200th time, like you really give like the attention to them. Why is it important for you to build a community, not only that like reflects your values and everything, but kind of like where they can see you as more of a friend rather than a content creator?
That's a good question. I believe there's essentially kind of 2 reasons for it, at least what I think. So one, growing up, obviously I became such a big Nintendo and gaming fan when I was very young. So I went through all of, elementary school, middle school, high school being a video game guy. That's, if you got to know me, one of the things I would talk about the most is video games, and especially Nintendo, Mario a lot too. And I made a ton of friends that way, obviously, and they like the same things as I did. But on the other side, some people wouldn't necessarily, I wouldn't say agree, but they obviously didn't like Nintendo like that. They would play a lot more PlayStation or Xbox or PC. So, I mean, it wouldn't happen all the time, but maybe sometimes I get made fun of a little bit for like, oh, you like Pokemon, you like, whatever it is. Because like, it's so weird to even talk about this now, because it feels so mainstream these days.
Yes.
Like everyone loves anime, everyone loves video games, manga, whatever your pop culture thing is. I feel like video games and just gaming and whatever in general, that type of like subculture has become so ingrained in like real everyday life now that you're made fun of for not liking that type of stuff now.
Yes.
So if I could go back and tell like my younger self, like, hey, like there's the entire world now recognizes what you like and how much you like it, and allows you to share that type of thing with the world, I don't think I'd believe myself, because it just did not feel like that's where the world was going at the time. But in terms of community, I think just being able to kind of provide that space of like, hey, we all like the very same stuff. We like, whether it's Mario, whether it's Splatoon, Pokemon, or other like games, like let's say Deltarune. That's a big, Undertale. That series is huge and has a lot of fans. But just liking the same stuff and providing a space for that, like a Discord server or a Twitch chat or whatever, but being able to kind of share our passion for those games, like, and essentially coexist together, even though it's an online space, you still feel like you're a part of something larger than yourself.
3,000%.
Yeah, and that, I think, if anything, that wants you to pursue those interests and activities and share them with people and make new friends because of that too. So that's, I think, a big part of it. But then the other thing is, I think just a way of kind of, I wouldn't say like full on like and trying to inspire other people to do the same thing, but like just kind of sharing my stories of like, hey, this is how I got into games. These are my favorite games. This is why. This is my experience when I travel. I think it's cool just to have like a way just to kind of show people like, hey, if you want to know who I really am, like by all means, I know there's so many people that will say like, oh, he just has, not me, but like people have personas on and off camera. I mean, I'm sure it's cliche, but like, what you see is what you're really getting from me. Like
Yes.
I try to make it a point to be like, hey, like I'll tell you what I like, I'll tell you what I don't like. I'll share with you what I got. There's no facade behind it at all. So I think that's the other reason is I want to be very honest with people, like what kind of content creator, what kind of person I am too.
And with that, especially, like, there's so many people that you can really just like pick them out in a crowd who really put on like that persona, and not
Yeah.
even in like an amplify yourself up to 200, because sometimes that is important to kind of give yourself that extra like surge. But like just like the people who are doing it not because they're passionate about it, but just because it's like trendy and like what everyone else is doing. I find with the FTI community, and I've said this so many times before, is you can really tell when someone in the FTI community doesn't fit in. And it's terrible saying it, but it's true, because like if someone comes in like they're just expecting everything from everyone, the moment it's like, okay, what did KnightSky do last week? They're like, who? And I'm just like, exactly. But if you ask like LD, Megamat, Nathan, Shoop, Emerson, Corleone, they're all familiar with you as you're familiar with other people in the FTI community. Not you might not communicate with them daily or even monthly or at all, but just
you know
like,
of them.
You know of them. Whereas like if someone were to come into KnightSky chat and they're just like, I've been around for a week now, can you give me some self promo? Those people are like so easy to pick out, my friend.
100%. Yeah, I would agree.
I really want to transition this into where I think we're gonna get a lot of like fun, interesting stories, and that is N10. Because along the way of your journey, you met 9 incredible folks, with Radical, I believe, being at like the top of it, beginning N10. It really solidified what your future would be, but it also probably brought you and the individuals in N10 to heights, both on a personal level and like a creation level, that you never thought were even imaginable. Talk in detail about N10, from like the original concept, key highlights, and like absolutely everything.
Whew. Oh man, I got 7 years worth of stuff to tell you, man. I'll start there. So we just recently celebrated our 7th anniversary, and I feel like once you get past 5, some of those numbers are kind of like iffy. But like I feel like for N10, at least every year is just automatically a miracle. Like how the hell are we still friends? Like that's what I tell them every day. But no, of course not. But I mean, like overall, I feel like I talk a lot about like what I've done on my journey and like my own personal and content journey, like and how much I've done, events and everything, and like streams, videos, even like travels by myself. But honestly, I don't think I would be, one, this confident in myself, and 2, this like open to new ideas and new like goals without N10. I feel like at the end of the day, N10, it's a collective itself of individuals, but we together are like something far greater than I feel like any one of us individually are. And so, all right, I'll try to give you the brief history of everything, but I'll go into detail. So, 2018 is when we started. May 28th, 2018 was the date that N10 was founded. Originally, the concept behind it was Radical was doing a lot of his early work. He's going to hate me for saying this. A lot of his early work was he made other people do his work for him, quote unquote. But like, for example, he had us make like a channel trailer for him. So actually before that, I'll go into how I met him, because he was the first N10 member I met. It's so weird because I casually was just scrolling through Instagram one day, and this is right around where like I don't know if you remember, or I don't know if it happened in Canada at all, but they were closing down all the Toys R Us stores.
Yes.
In the, I think at least around the world, maybe, or maybe just the States. But I was just like, oh man, like I was just remembering, like that's where I got some of my games from. I remember like every birthday, my mom would take me there. That's where my brother got his first bike, and then he got me one too, for being so nice, because I technically begged him to get me one, but not really, not at all. but yeah, that's a big part of my childhood. So I saw on my feed there was like a little like post or something, and it was like, oh, I'm visiting the Toys R Us before it closes, and I was like, oh, that's actually unique. I never really thought about that. So I clicked the page, I watched the video. It was a pretty good video. It was just him like walking around the store with his camera, like showing how empty stuff was. So I thought it was pretty cool. So I subscribed, and I was just like, you know what, why not? I hit him up in the DMs. I was like, hey man, I just saw your video. Like I thought it was really cool. I appreciate it. I think I also do YouTube as well. I don't think I asked for a collab. I just kind of let him know like, hey, I also do YouTube. I like your stuff. And then I think like he replied not instantly, but like maybe a few minutes later, and we just kind of started talking. And essentially, it was just like, oh, like we do very similar content. I think he just hit 100 subscribers when I met him, or he was like very close to. I think I was still like 50 or something. So he hit that milestone before I did. But then I was like, oh, I'd love to do like a video with you, maybe some sort of collab. I won his 100 subscriber giveaway. That's right. So he did a 100 subscriber giveaway for I don't know if it's still here or not. Oh, wait, it is. Actually, hold on. Let me grab it real quick.
Down.
It is, yeah, this is it. He had a giveaway because he would go to PAX East, or this is the second year going to PAX East. And he won, or he took a bunch of the lanyards that were there, like for the actual event. He had it as part of his giveaway. It was this in like a Nintendo's My Nintendo badge or something, or like pin. And so he's like, he just put it up. I won the giveaway, so he sent it over to me. I did a whole unboxing video of it, which essentially turned into like a self promo for him because I was talking like, oh, he does all this great stuff. So that's hence the why, like I said, he got other people to do his work for him. So I basically kind of shouted him out the whole time. But afterwards, we're like, oh yeah, we got to do a collab again. So when he was making his channel trailer, he was like, oh, I remember, I talked with KnightSky. He'd be great for this. So he included me and a bunch of other people in to essentially make clips for his channel trailer to show what he did, basically. And then I remember, I think he premiered it and put us all in like a big DM group chat. And he was like, this is awesome. Like, we should do something together. Like, we should form a group. And I think this is like late at night, so I was already asleep, or maybe I was doing something else. I woke up and there was like a huge amount of like chat messages, and like I scroll to the bottom and I found like, oh, I guess I'm in a group now or something. I didn't know this is happening. So they came up with the name N10 because there were currently 10 of us. I think there was like someone who was supposed to be in it but didn't get back to them, so we essentially put in an extra person, and that person was Key, funnily enough.
Okay.
So Key wasn't actually one of the original 10. He was like an add-on because Linkachu knew him, and so like, oh yeah, Radical was like, oh yeah, he's cool. Let's bring him in. So, actually, real quick. So I scrolled up in Instagram. I found the original DM. I don't know if the camera quality can really show this properly. Let me see if I can show it a little bit. But I just really said like, hey, do you do YouTube? And the first thing he did was he linked me the video that I already watched. So here, promo. Exactly. He links me the shit that I just watched, and I said, okay. Well, at the time, I was like, this is so cool. A YouTuber's talking to me. But then, like, looking at it now, I'm like, this guy really just sent his own video to me again. So
you want to watch it twice?
Yeah, really. That's exactly what he was saying. So I said like, oh, this is awesome. He said, yeah, I'm grinding 200 subs. Thanks for checking on it. And he would always add like the radical emoji after every sentence he said, just on brand with him. And then I was like, yeah, I also do YouTube. And I said, oh, we kind of like do similar stuff. And then I think, yeah, honestly, like he just was just like really interested in the stuff that I did, and same with me. Like I really just liked the stuff that he did too. And we ended up collabing, and boom. So we were in that big group chat. There were 10 of us, not the current 10 right now. There was different people who came in at different points. But yeah, on the 28th was the day that he made that group chat that everyone started talking. And he was like, yeah, let's just make a group. Let's make N10. And there it was. Whew, that was just the beginning.
I was going to say, man, that all happened like legitimately pre-May 28th. Everything
pretty much, yeah.
And like it's so on brand with Radical. Like once you did that, I was like, yep, that I associate that with Radical to this day.
Yes, 100%.
What I think is so cool about you guys is just like the friendly banter you guys also have, but like at the end of the day, you're just like, I fucking still love you, dude. But like,
oh yeah,
you'll sometimes just kind of like dig in. With N10 specifically, has there been like any key moments as a group? Like, of course, like you had the movie, you had like the first meetup, like the get-togethers and everything, where you really said, holy shit, like content creating has really got me here. Like, I never thought I would be here with these guys right now.
Yeah, okay, there's a couple. I hope that's okay if I can talk about them all. But
all yours, man.
Hell yeah. So I mean, for the first year of N10, for the first couple of months, we didn't really we did some streams. We did a lot of stuff. Obviously, at the time, a lot of us were still in high school.
Yes.
I think because Cisco is the oldest, and so he was, I think he was done college. I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong. Actually, you know what? He was, oh man. If I'm remembering this right, Cisco, if you're watching this, I'm so sorry. I'm messing up dates and everything. I'm pretty sure he was like 22 when N10 was founded. So he's right around, I'm 23 now. So I was a year older than he was when N10 first was founded. So that's crazy to already think about. I don't know if that math is right. But so a lot of us were still in like school or college. I think Radical was in college at this point, first year probably. But a lot of us were just kind of doing our own thing still. We were like, oh yeah, I guess we're part of a group. We did like a whole like little reveal thing where we would upload little trailers saying like, hey, I'm an N10. You know what N10 is? Too bad. You got to wait for the announcement. So we did like that kind of like funny little thing.
Yours is the best, by the way. You come in on the chair, you look, and you go out.
Mm-hmm. I honestly like did not really think of like what else could I do to really kind of tease something like that. So I was just like, yeah, screw it, I'll just do that. But so yeah, we did that. We had like a big like full reveal. I think I made a channel trailer with like all of like our logos and like this cool stuff with it. But since then, like I think from that point for the next couple of months, we really only did like some streams and some videos together. We had, I don't know if I can check my sources, I can probably do that while I'm talking. But the N10 channel wasn't made, I think, until a few months after, because we just did stuff on our own channels at that point.
Yes.
But yeah, so like throughout the summer, we just kind of did our own thing. Radical actually, I think, took a bit of a hiatus after pretty much he founded N10. He kind of was like did his own thing, which I'm sure like, you know, he had a lot of stuff going on, I think, at that point in time. But it was funny because like we were just like, wait a second, didn't he found the group? Now he's like getting us do all the work again for him. Is this what's going on? So
it all comes back.
Yeah, I was like, all right, whatever. Okay, so yeah, I was about right here. So fast forward up to November. So 2018, November 24th, 2018, I just looked, was the day that we made the N10 channel. And I don't remember why that we specifically made that date the channel, but I do remember part of it's probably because that first meetup we had was the next month after, probably even like a couple days after, because it was the Smash Brothers launch event in New York City, which I believe was December 8th. I think.
Yeah, I think you're 8th or 10th, because I also did the midnight launch here in Canada. Yeah.
So that was pretty much 10 days we made the channel before. I think because we knew we were going to do that, so I think that's why we made it. But he was back at that point. So it was me, Litz, Cisco, and Key. We were the ones who's like, all right, we're just going to go to New York. Let's just see what happens. And honestly, to me, looking back on it, it still did not feel real. Because at that point, I just knew these guys, you know, solely like how we're talking right now, just like faces on a screen, voice chat, microphone, playing some games every now and then. But when I went there and I met Cisco and Litz first, I think I like came up behind them like in the line. They're like, "Oh, what's going on?" And we were hugging and stuff. But like, I think it hit me then, and also like when it was like about to release the game, or the game was about to release. I was just like, "Oh my gosh! Like these are real people right next to me. These are people who like they've already know everything I've talked about. We've done in videos. We've done all sorts of cool stuff together, and like they're right here with me." So that was crazy. I always look back on that moment, like that time, as like a really fond memory of like what really started N10 on that path of being more than just a group of content creators who make stuff every now and then. I think that was a very defining moment for us. And actually, funnily enough, there's a lot of people who I've met now over this last couple of years who have told me that they were at that line as well, that I had no idea who they were. But now I'm good friends with like Shifty's one of them, Galaxies, PK Red, a bunch of other people there too that I had no idea who they were at the time. But now they're like, "Oh yeah, I was in front of you," or "Oh yeah, I saw you. You were there." I was like, "What? There's no way." I was like, "Me? No way." So I thought that was really cool. And honestly, you know, who knows who else was there that I don't know about but that knows me already too at some point. So kind of funny, kind of weird, but I always just kind of thought it was a nice little kind of anecdote. But yeah, that was like all in the first year of like, or at least in 2018 of N10. So that already a big, massive jumping point. Fast forward again a couple months, we're doing some more collabs together. We had the N10 channel. We did a couple streams. But what really, we did a couple more meetups. There was a Chicago meetup that Radical did. There was PAX East, which me, Shy Guy Steph at the time, and then also Radical, we went to together. That was the first time I met Radical in person. And since then we've been on, I think we've like hung out and gone to like cities and events, maybe like
WrestleMania.
WrestleMania, like probably like more. We've hung out more than like, I want to say maybe 20 times at this point. So
Understood. Okay.
it is insane that the amount of journeys I've been on with that guy. But that alone was just the first year of N10.
That is so crazy because when you think about it on like a map perspective, you guys aren't just like same city neighbors. You're like traveling to see these friends.
Yes, 100%.
With all like the meetups, like more specifically, I guess like getting like the current group together for the N10 movie. How did that come along? Like, were you guys like planning a hangout just to like meet up, or did like the movie really push you guys to say like, we got to make this happen? It has to happen in this time frame.
I got you. Well, before I go there, I'll do one other extra thing from like the before that point. So that was a big one. Another really big moment in N10's like, or there's two, I guess another one before that was our 1 year anniversary video. We've basically, I think it's like 45 minutes in general, just all of us, all 10 of us currently at the time. I think, no, there was N10 plus at the time was also a thing as well, where it was just, there was 10 of us, but then we started adding in some other people too that we were like, thought we were cool with. And like, oh yeah, they're cool. Let's just bring them into the group. They're just, I think our max at one point was like 14 people. So
N14.
N14. yeah, pretty much N14 was a real thing. So we were just like, yeah, whatever. Who cares? Like, it's just, who cares about the number? But I think this was before we were at our max. But we had a video where we just all talked about like, hey, this is what the group means to me. This is what we've done together. I never would have thought that I would have meet people like this online, especially when back at maybe even a little bit before that point, people would always tell you, hey, don't talk to strangers online.
Yep.
Don't ever meet up with them. I mean, that's funny because like in New York, Let's came with his mom. I came with my parents. Key came with his dad. I think Cisco was the only actual adult there. So all of us with our parents came just to make sure we were all okay. Like, okay, you guys aren't weirdos, right? So yeah, I thought that was always kind of like, but hey, it's good practice for the, if you have kids in the future, you never know. But so yeah, like that's kind of like a more defining moment. We had that 1 year anniversary. And then a year later was the first time that most of us met up in person, which was at PAX East in 2020. And that is honestly another big jumping point for N10 itself, because first time a bunch of us are there, we're hanging out. We, I believe had, I don't think I have it with me right now, unfortunately. But we had, for the first time ever, we had merch, which were our N10 hoodies. And they are all black hoodies with the N10 logo on the front. And on the back was all of like our chibi art at the time. And so all 10 of us, or however many of us were there, had the hoodies on. We were repping N10. We were walking through. We were expecting like everyone to be like, oh my gosh, it's N10. No way. Which, didn't really happen. It was kind of funny though. But it was cool just kind of like, hey, like this is a group now. We're going to an event as a group. We're doing all this kind of fun stuff together. And it was a really fun time because we had so many like fun memories and jokes and whatever. But I also look back at that because literally a week later after we get back from that, that's when COVID hit. So we were literally, and there was already people saying like, oh, at the convention, like, oh, put some masks on just in case. Make sure you're 6 feet apart. Even at that convention, people were like, oh, hey, we gotta be careful. Like, we were careful too, but like we had no idea the global scale that was gonna, how much of it was gonna affect that. So literally, a week after we get back from that trip, everything shuts down. So we were like, holy crap, we lucked out. We really lucked out that we were able to do this before everything went down. But yeah, fast forward a couple years again. Sorry. There's obviously a couple more trips that happened. A lot of them were less convention related, but more so just kind of like hangouts. Like we'd go to, like, for instance, Chicago was one. Some people would come to Philly for a little bit. Boston, we were in Florida. We would just kind of hang out and do whatever. We actually did a road trip to Florida a couple of years ago as well. That was a fun little anecdote. I will never do a full on road trip again with no rest stop. Well, we had rest stops, but we didn't stay anywhere overnight. That was something I will never ever forget, and something I will never ever do again. Just that was crazy. That's just a
one and done.
Yeah, a one and done type of thing. I'm good. I'll never do that again. I'll fly next time, please. Thank you.
I'll meet you there.
Yeah. But yeah, so skip forward again. So I believe it was 2023. Yeah, because that would have been 5 years since 2018. So at the start of the year, we were like, all right, we got to do something special. This is 5 years of N10. We talked about the idea of doing a movie, just kind of like throwing it around, because the year before we did like 2 years before. So for 3 and for 4, we did 2 big green screen types of videos. The first one was like the sitcom-y video we did for the 3-year anniversary, where the whole plot was Nintendo was suing us because we were calling ourselves N10 and using the N64 logo. So they sent the Nintendo ninjas after us, and we had to basically raised up money to find out, oh no, Reggie's not Nintendo anymore. We were lied to. So then we fought the Nintendo ninjas. I had a whole like, epic battle with that. They gave me squid tentacles as powers. I don't understand why they did that.
Was that the George Lopez
yes.
opening?
Yeah, that also was that. Yeah, we did the George Lopez opening there too. I do remember that. Yeah, I think I edited most of that too. Yeah, that's right. I remember doing that. But then the year after that, we did the Rhythm Heaven final mix or whatever mode of that game. And that was a really big undertaking. It was a lot of us editing it because we wanted to get all the clips together. We had our green screens behind us. We're trying to do all these poses to try to fit us into the video. That was probably one of our best pieces of work ever up until that point. But ever since then, we were like, okay, we know we can make good stuff. Why don't we try to make a movie? So we were trying to figure out like what to do for a script. We were trying to figure out when can we do it. So we picked like, hey, like this summer works perfectly. A lot of us aren't really doing anything. We can probably pick like a weekend or something to do that. So we landed on one in August, and we teased a little bit of it, like, "Oh, you guys are going to have this is going to be a cool year. You have no idea what's going to happen." But in that moment, I think I'm sure you've seen it, and like a lot of other people have as well. When we did that like little clip of like all of us this is at Ribs' house, all of us on like that porch, and we're all hanging out. We did like a little kind of one shot where we're all just like dapping each other up, giving each other hugs, like kind of messing around. In that moment, and even like throughout that whole weekend, I was just like, this doesn't feel real at all. The fact that all 10 of us, and even right now, the current 10, are here together in one place at one time doing stuff that we love. I feel like that was the moment I was just like, yeah, this is exactly where I want to be right now. And also where I could never have imagined it coming to this point at all. Like when I started the channel, when we started N10, we could not have imagined it getting to that point where we're all here doing something fun together like that.
What I really think people like, I'm sure you know this more than anybody or a lot of people, is just like describing things like that. The friendships you make, the N10 group is just like, to someone it's just like, yeah, it's just buddies online. It's like, no, like we coordinated out of like a luck of a draw. We met each other at the perfect time, at the perfect moment, and now we're all in one central location hanging out. Like, I'm sure there's 9 neighbors to the left of you, but you don't know those 9 neighbors, but you know the 9 friends you're with at Ribs' house. And it's just moments like that really you can't describe to anybody else how special it is unless you're a part of that 10. You could talk about how much you love it. You could talk about like, yo, I saw Radical, Aiden, Ribs, Key, Dag, and all of them. But unless you're one of the 10, that moment will never be replicated to somebody who watches in on N10. And something that I want to emphasize too, for the people who are not familiar with you and N10, is you guys, although you're like 10 or N14, you guys really have like a driven community to where people are excited to see what you're doing, like getting involved, like your yearly September video. I know LD's a big N10 supporter of all of you guys.
Yes,
No
he
matter,
is.
yeah, no matter how much that guy sets himself up to kind of not be like the center of the joke, but
Yeah.
like just
Hmm.
like how loving and
Shout out
support,
D.
any day of the fucking week. Um, I find it so fascinating how there's 10 separate communities, but then there's also your guys' main community that shares so many people. You've had countless opportunities to like talk about these people, of not talk about these, but like know these people, of course. Whether it's like N10 lads, LD, gamer, and chicken dog, just to name a few. There are so many people you've connected with in the last 9 years. What does it mean to you to be a part of like these different communities and especially make lifelong friends through content creation?
Hmm. Well, for one thing, I definitely underestimate like how many people, or how many communities and how many people in those communities that like we've known at this point and that we're connected with. Um, because yeah, when you look at like there's 10 individual like members of us, but like altogether, like we have so much more of an outreach than we would by ourselves. So at least for me, like it definitely is. It's kind of, I don't want to say overwhelming, but like amazing that like we know these people and we be able to interact with them and also just kind of collab or just hang out and do all sorts of cool things with. Like a prime example of that recently is like when Chicken Dog was at New York waiting for the
Yes.
Switch 2. The fact that like, I went from, because years ago it was Alex C&D who was waiting for the Switch One, and I was just a kid at the time watching the videos on my phone or my computer, and like, oh, this is so cool! Like, I wish I could meet him one day, or I wish I could see something like that too. To actually go to New York and actually know the guy and interact with the person who is now doing it for 2 months, that I feel like that's another big moment. I was just like, oh my gosh, like this is more than just a content creation thing. Like this is like a guy that knows us, that really loves and appreciates what we do, and like being able to interact with him and be like, oh my gosh, like this is so cool. Like I would never expect anyone I know to do something like this. So that was a huge kind of moment of like of just how much involved we are in other communities and how much other communities know about us as well.
I think something that's also really fascinating and really neat about like the Nintendo community as a whole, or like the members like we share in common, is just how connected we are with each other, and like we like always know like what's going on. Like Chicken Dog, for example, perfect example, and like him camping outside of Nintendo New York for 2 months. Saw so many familiar faces support him, but also like go join him. Like another one's Monado Max. Like
Yes.
Monado Max did a week as well, and it's just like those weren't two creators meeting each other there that never heard of each other. Like they were excited to see each other because they knew of each other previously.
Yeah.
Do you have anybody like specifically where you're like, holy shit, I don't know what I would do without you in my life?
Ooh. Oh
I've
man,
been
that's a
Yeah, this
tough
question
one.
is hard because like you'll name five, you'll watch this back and go like, I am so sorry I didn't name you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I gotta get out of the way. First off, it's gotta be you, obviously.
Oh man, I appreciate
Gotta have the
you.
FTI support in there, honestly. But no, yeah, seriously, yeah, you're definitely one of them, obviously, in terms of just how connected you are with the creator space and like the opportunity you're giving a lot of these creators to kind of talk about not only themselves but what they bring to the table. I think is really undervalued and today, especially in content creation, just because
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
you see a lot of like the headlines of just like these big streamers and big YouTubers and other creators who are just doing all sorts of these wacky things. And it's impressive. It's impressive to see it. But I appreciate the ones that really give an opportunity for those that are smaller than them to essentially say, "Hey, I might not be able to do that, but this is what I can do instead, and this is what gives me value for that too." So I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Um, Besides that, I would say, oh man, see, yeah, you got me thinking now. Um, I have to say radical, honestly. As much as he loves the glaze, whatever. I mean, if it weren't for him, obviously, I would not have known about N10. I would not have known or like met any of these guys, these wonderful, amazing people. Any of his friends, by extent, gotten into the games that I have. And without him, I probably would not be a wrestling fan now. If it wasn't for
Yes.
him, that's a big part of it. Same thing with like my renewed love of sports. That's a huge thing. Um, and just overall, just kind of like the ability like to talk with someone who, yeah, he's older than me, but he feels like he's like a brother, like that.
Yes.
We grew up all our lives together. So he's someone who, whenever we talk, it's always good fun, but we always end up having a deep conversation about something and anything. He's someone I can always go to and be like, hey man, like I'm really kind of thinking, do I want to do this? Like, what do you think about this? And just honestly, I really value his input because of that. And I know it's the same way with me too. Like he can come to me for anything else. that we can talk about. And there's been a lot of stuff like that where we've gone to each other, and same with the other boys too. Like we've talked with them in those moments where like, hey, we need support, we need to be lifted up, or hey, I just need like an honest opinion about something. So he's definitely a forefront of that. I would say the other person I kind of want to say, but I guess it's kind of a collective as well, are my moderators. And I want to give them a little bit of love too, just because, it's funny because the dynamic between a streamer and the moderation team, it really depends on who you talk to. Because a lot of times it's just like, oh yeah, they're just people who just kind of check out the chat or whatever, or like they make fun of me, I do that, vice versa. And it's a lot of that with them. But for my, I wouldn't say team, but like for the people who I essentially asked, like, hey, can you help me run and maintain my community? This is something that I appreciate, and this is something that I built from the ground up, and I need help being able to make sure it stays that way, it stays sound. So all of my moderators, so SB Galaxies, Al Lame, MT Embor, Fahad, and GamerN, those are 5 of them. They've been helping me for the last couple of years, whether it's YouTube ideas or just Discord or Twitch stream chat, whatever you name it. They've been really helping me out. And they give me such valued information and feedback for what I can do, not only as a creator, but as a person. And a prime example of that too, I really want to shout out MT Embor, who I've known pretty much since day one, I want to say. Maybe not day one, but like I think like year 2, because we met through a bunch of friends while playing Splatoon 2. So and he was like a kid at the time. He was barely in middle school when I started my channel. And so I've seen him essentially kind of grow up and like become an adult and be like, holy crap, like this guy's not a kid anymore. Like I can't believe I've seen this guy like essentially live life, which is insane. But he's definitely something who I value his opinion and how much he brings to the table as well. Just all my moderators, I feel like if it weren't for them, I would not really know what to do in terms of like, where can I go with this direction? Is this a good idea? Who should I talk to? What can I do about this? So I think they're also someone, or just a group of people who I really value their input and just everything that they bring to the table. And if I could say one more person, okay, this is also kind of a default answer, but I gotta say my family. I think it's essentially, oh man, where was I going with this? Oh, so when I have a community such like my own, and like I interact with these other communities and I interact with these other people, what really interests me is just the different stories that people have. And whether that's, I like this video game series because I grew up with it, or I found this because I was having a tough time in life, and this game or this whatever I stumbled across and it really resonates with me. Just hearing about those experiences is really it really means a lot to me, and especially with that they would share that with me as well with other people. But the more interesting that I think I learned about is like how much of their family is invested in what they do. Whether it's, my parents don't like me with playing video games, or they don't want me to talk with people online, or they think that Twitch is stupid, or blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, for me, like since day one, especially like my parents, my family, huge supporters. Like my sisters were the ones that got me into gaming. My dad was the one who bought me my first computer, who bought me essentially all my, before I started making my own money and getting like the Switch onward, he bought me all those consoles beforehand, and he would make sure I had everything set up. My mom would give me ideas for videos. She essentially bought me a microphone for my birthday that I recorded my first like actual properly good video with. And my brother like will always play games together, and he'd always like show me like the latest game that's coming out. So it was really the support and the love that my family has shown me that I honestly, to this day, like I keep I won't say underestimating, but like I take for granted sometimes. And when I say like I learn about these different people and like where they've come from, and to see like how either their family supports them just as much or not enough or whatever, I'm realizing how lucky and how blessed, but also just how awesome it is to have support like that to essentially make me want to continue to do this. Because obviously, you grow up and you're like, your parents are like, all right, where's the money at? What are you doing here?
Yeah, college, university, yeah.
Like, oh, come on, like, what are we doing here? But like, this to see that like they know about the adventures that go on. The fact that I never really had to hide any of this from them. They like knew that I wanted to do streaming and videos, like, and they'll watch my stuff too. Like literally before this interview, my dad was watching my latest video, which just came out today, which is my Switch 2 launch experience. And he would say like, oh yeah, like I remember that. Like when I told him I got filmed in the news, they're like, oh, that's awesome. They were like finding stuff for me or whatever. So the idea that like they love and support me that much, they're able to just watch any sort of stupid stuff that I make. is definitely another big reason as to why I am where I am right now because of them. And if not for them, I would not even be doing YouTube. I would not have my own computer and everything. I wouldn't even be able to do this interview with you, believe it or not.
She's taking it away. Forever and a day. Testing all my faith. Ain't that something? I see it's forever. Now I'm in doubt.
I think that you actually you said it perfectly. Like, just like not taking like advantage of like the love and support from your family, but like really being honed in on how like important and special that is, because there's so many people who like I don't know if he's ever publicly said it, but like Radical for a time there, he could not really like address like he was a content creator to his family, because I remember I would want to do like FTI things with him. And he would say, like, I can't right now, but like if we time this better in the future, I can plan around it. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
But like it's perfect there, man, because like that support and that love you get from your family kind of like not fast tracks you in like a way of to like get to the top, because everybody has a different definition of success. But it really just connects you to the bigger picture that living the life you want to live is important when your family supports it. I know for me, for example, when I first started FTI, I didn't go to college. I didn't go to university because I wanted to make sure that what I did, I kind of created from the ground up. I went through like fast fashion. I went through like these little graphic design trends, photography trends. So when my mom, or my family rather, saw me do like this online collective thing, they never once said like, oh, that's stupid. Like you should really like focus on something that puts like the spotlight on you. They flip side of the coin, they're like, no, you should really do this, because like it'll have like a lot of impact on like creators around you. So like talking to you, another one is Aiden, Emerson Corleone. His dad designs his album cover art and his song art. So it's awesome. It's connections like cool. That. Yeah. But stripping all that away, if you were to stop content creation tomorrow, which is probably not even a thought ever, is there a different realm of like art or creation that like you'd want to dip your toes into?
Ooh, that's a good one. Well, I always think like something about like just the content creation process, you learn so much. You have to learn a lot, like to really like be able to do it. I wouldn't say well, but just be able to do it at a level that you want to. And what I mean by that is like you have to learn how to edit. You have to learn how to be a graphic designer. You gotta write your own scripts. You have to be a technician. You gotta set up your camera and your lighting. You gotta, make sure that you keep track of like all the games you have, your money. You have to make sure you're look at all the stats. You gotta look at the trends. There's so much that goes into it.
You're doing your own marketing and everything.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah, marketing. Pitching. Essentially, you really learn. You put on so many hats when you're trying to be this one thing. And so because of that, I do think that I'll be able to use a lot of that. Like if I were to pursue other things, like obviously graphic design is one of them. Video editing, I feel like I love learning more about that. Like a really prime example is like actually Aiden. He's someone who blows me away with how talented he is, and to see
his switch to video.
Yes. Oh my! And the thing he just posted too with his girlfriend, he did the whole DSI campaign. That is amazing, and to see literally like I knew the guy when he was like screaming about JoJo and Zelda, in his bedroom. He's like, oh my god, that's what, and also the big part about N10 is to see how we've all changed over that time. Where, yeah, we still geek out and fanboy over the latest games or whatever, but to see our creative output and what that means to us and what we can do with that. Like Aiden's a really good example of that. He makes amazing edits. He does a lot of cool stuff. Radical, another big blaze moment for him. He just won a sports Emmy. That is insane.
Yeah,
that is unbelievable to me. But he probably didn't do any of the work for it though. But
got someone else to.
Yeah, really. Yeah, exactly. What did he really do for that, man? Come on. Now, anyway, but like just the idea of like what you bring to the table is more than just ideas or more than just like a personality. But obviously, the personality elevates what you already do in terms of like your skills for that. So I think maybe for me, like it would probably be some form of like creative video editing or whatever. But if I were to take like a full on like 180 path from this, I mean, I've always been interested in music. I think it's a big part of also who I am and like what besides the channel and everything. I really love music and I really love not just like the songs and albums. I really love the meaning behind some of this of the music, the lyrics, the instruments, the instrumentals. I love like the bass, the drums, and the guitar. Actually, my parents actually they're part of they did a duo together. They actually perform at like local bars and restaurants together.
Oh,
So
hell
they
yeah.
do towards the music. And even before I was born too, they were part of a band with my uncle, and they would do like rock covers and all sorts of cool stuff. So their music is in their blood. Unfortunately, I don't really have much of the music skill, but I mean that's something I would want to learn to do. If I essentially were to kind of take a 180 from it, but knowing me, I feel like I would want to make content out of that as well.
Yes.
Learning like, hey, like how to play the guitar, how to play the bass. What are some of the songs I can do? What are some songs that you want me to know how to do? And like maybe even collab with other people who can make good music like that as well. So definitely think that would be an avenue, but then somehow I feel like I would just turn around and make content out of it. No doubt.
Everything comes
No
back.
doubt, yeah.
I'll probably message you after this podcast is done. But if there's two people that I could definitely like point you like right in that direction of, Mindy Sounds and Shoop, especially Mindy Sounds, because he uploads the creation, like how I made like a song, how I made this, how I made that.
Ooh, I do
And
like that, yeah.
It like to him, it's a skill. He's perfected it. He's honed in, like he's mastered his own craft. But from the outside looking in, it's so interesting that like that really catchy song that he has wasn't just put together in like one thought or like one session. It was like a month creative process. Whereas when you relate that to like streaming or something, if I were to come into the KnightSky stream 3 years into your like streaming career, I assume like, oh, he's probably just has it looking like this every day. But 3 years ago, your stream did not look like it did today.
No.
So musicians and content creators, and I guess all artists have that in common, where it's really like what you give is also transferable to where you kind of want to experiment with. Like I know you mentioned like everything would go back to like content creation, everything would go back to like you creating something to like show people. I think you as like even like a beat producer is a whole avenue that you probably would master or like definitely like knock out of the park. And you haven't even created a beat yet, but it's just like the skills you have in content creation would flow so smooth over to that.
Yes.
This brings me into my favorite conversation topic, and I've asked everybody, and I'm excited for yours because content creating is the field where I feel like you talked about it earlier with the camera always on you. It's the feeling of vulnerability. Knowing that the camera is on you, whether it's an audience live on Twitch, whether it's an audience live on Twitch, or it's creating a YouTube video and doing like take 1, take 10. Because I know every creator of the week video I do for Mondays, man, there's 50 takes in between. It's that, as you mentioned, like the heightened senses of the people around you and like the perspective of others. How does vulnerability affect being a content creator, especially in the multiple fields that you create for?
How does it affect me, like in terms of just like what does it mean for my creative process, or just like overall?
Do you think about vulnerability, like, or is that not even a thought in your mind, like when you're creating at this point?
Well, I definitely think there's for whatever I do, like especially let's say for streaming, I what I really like about streaming is just how much of a transparency there is between, let's say, the chat or the audience and the streamer. Whereas like a YouTube video, you're really just, filming. So I learned this when I was in one of my classes in college. It was that every cut is a lie. And what that means is that every time that you cut something or you do another take, you're essentially removing something that you don't want people seeing, either because you thought it wasn't going to fit or whatever reason. But in that moment, you're taking out what actually happened and you're putting something together to make it look more appealing visually or audibly to whoever's watching it without even showing them, hey, this is what actually happened. And, that's what I really appreciate, especially about film as well. I mean, I'm not a big film buff like a lot of people, but I can really appreciate when it's very visible like that. So I think for a YouTube video, that's where, at least for me, I like to kind of show off the more creative side of like, hey, I can put this and this together. I can slap some music on it, some visuals, some text, some color grading, whatever, and make it look really good. But with streaming, what I can do there is I can be honest. I can be like, hey, let's have a good time. It's like a conversation. We're hanging out. We're doing whatever. And I think because of that, that's why I loved streaming and I love making videos, because it shows the two sides of me, which are the real, vulnerable, chill guy, or versus the creative, strategic, or just kind of or ever thinking person who wants to show you something really cool. So I believe the vulnerability there is definitely seen like within my streams and my videos. It's just a matter of like, how do I use that vulnerability to kind of either tell a story or maybe like, try to make a point or even just like get something off my chest if I want to talk about it, like either it's like gaming or just pop culture in general.
That's honestly like a perfect perspective, because when you're streaming, like if something like were to happen, say like in the background there's a noise in like your living room or like your stream crashes, you can't just like cut that out in the moment. You got to roll with it because the camera's
like,
still on. For example, and I'm gonna call myself out. My one motto in life, or one of my many mottos in life, is when you call something out that you know is an imperfection, the people listening now focus on that. And for example, my microphone for the In Your Studio podcast, I dread the setup every single time because my microphone settings always change midway through recording when I go to set up.
No way.
So there's so many sessions where I sound like I'm in a tunnel, but I was like, if I ever call that out, people are only going to listen to my microphone sounding like a tunnel as opposed to who I'm talking to. Man, so when I do creators of the week and I'm sitting here, I have like that like FTI microphone that's portable. I'm like, I wish that could be my podcast microphone because it captures me exactly how I want it to. But it's exactly what you mean, like being vulnerable. Just you're accepting all of these eyes and you're accepting an honest truth to yourself. Ending the conversation, this is my favorite 3 questions to ask absolutely everybody. I think I've said everything's my favorite, but these are my 3 favorite. Not limited to one medium, one genre of art, one field of content creation. Put the FTI community onto some things that you're enjoying, whether it's music, film, other content creators.
Oh, okay. Well, I alluded to it a little bit before, but definitely something I've been getting into more and more recently is wrestling. I think it is, honestly, I believe there's a pipeline, because the second you get into sports, I feel like wrestling is just right there. Like it's waiting at the end of the tunnel and you're like, okay, yeah, I'm here now. Because so many like sports and so much of like same thing I said about like video games and everything, wrestling feel like it's getting even more mainstream than it was before, which, has its ups and downs. There's always pluses and minuses to that. But I think for me, like I really got into it at the perfect time. The fact that one, WrestleMania 40 was here in Philly. I would not have known about that had Radical not told me about it. And 2, it'd be like, hey, let's go. I'm like, okay, let's go. And the fact that like I knew the stories going into it. I knew all like the stories, like the heels and the baby faces going into it, what it means for Cody Rhodes to finally finish his story, all that jazz. And because of that, I really appreciated it much more, and I really love the visual flair and everything that comes with it. Because it's a performance, but these guys are 100% athletes. Like they have to really put on their best face and their best, whatever to give the fans what they want. So that's definitely something I've really been getting into. Prime another example of that is I know Radical's been doing his wrestling content as well on his end. So he has this little podcast that I'm on every now and then. So that's a big thing. The Story Continues podcast is something that I know he wants to keep doing as well. So that's a fun little kind of thing we do together. Besides that, besides the sports thing, obviously I've been getting back into more sports. I really, love my Philly teams. You can kind of see a little bit already. I got some like memorabilia and stuff kind of laying around already. So I do love my sports as well. But in terms of just like other stuff, I think going back to, like I said, really for music, I really want to discover more genres of music. I think I've really been getting into a lot more. I think I actually commented on one of your videos, like house music. Like there's like some really good like tracks out there. And I'm just like, dude, like I can just put this in a stream background and I feel like I'm at like a club or a rave, but it feels so cool. And I would love to go to like an actual one day and actually maybe like do like a stream there or something, or maybe like go like see like me like a DJ or whatever, put on some custom tracks. I have no idea what the hell I'd be doing, but like as long as like I'm there in the moment, I think that'd be really cool. But I mean, besides that, it's kind of like just a little like side projects I like doing, obviously streaming still. Want to continue playing games. Switch 2's out now, so I'm going to make a lot of cool stuff with that, especially with Mario Kart, the chaos that comes with it as well. So, I mean, whatever keeps me busy and keeps me having fun, that's what I'll be doing.
I think one person that you'll quickly discover is Mindy Sounds, because he's very versatile. So like he can really like tug at your heartstrings with like his more so like smooth melodic songs, or he's also really, 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 I can't stress really, like The Miz, really well versed in EDM and house music. Like,
was that them in the clip, or is that someone else?
So that is so funny enough. Tyler Warden, the watch that I wear, and just I love Tyler Warden and Warden Watch. His side project that he does for fun is house music, and he doesn't really like shove it in your face that he does it. It's kind of like his like little like secret thing he does with Average James, who Average James also a musician who makes like multiple genres of music, but him and Tyler have a whole like EDM set. Oh, I think it's on YouTube. I think it's like a 20-minute like playlist that they like created. We had a potluck and DJ set like 4 Saturdays ago, where you brought your own food, you mingled with the artists in Guelph, and like we're all good friends. But then it ended in the basement at like this like house like festival.
Oh, that's awesome as hell! Holy,
I've never been a part of something like it in my life, but when I saw Tyler and Hunter performing, I said, "This is so cool," because these guys are just doing what they love, and they're pulling from other aspects of like their life and like their like artistic avenues to really like, I guess, create a moment in time, exactly like N10 at like the house when you all went to the house. Is nobody can describe that feeling unless you were there,
unless you were a part of it.
So from Mindy Sounds, he creates these songs, like whether it's his house music, his pop music, that really not only lifts the mood up, but you really connect with the artist behind it. And I agree with that wrestling take. I could talk hours about wrestling. I've been watching since 2007 when my mom said there's too much blood.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
This next one is another one where I apologize that you can only name one. Oh. Name an artist or collective in your community that you want the FTI community to check out after this podcast is done.
Ooh. An artist or a collective. This is a tough one. Because there are a couple names I could say.
You can, you honestly, one? We'll do one.
I'll do only one. Hold on. I'm checking my community right now. I'm taking a look. Actually, there is someone who, I don't know if they started doing content again or they've just been doing it for a while. He's actually a good friend of mine now, Face Laces, or I don't know if he says Face Laces. Someone actually met through another streamer's community, and I think it's because I literally just like self-promoted, self-promotion. I literally kind of put my own like videos like, hey, I made a video, and the guy responding was like, oh, this is great, I love the video. It's like, but your thumbnail could be like this, and he gave me a bunch of options for what I could do for my thumbnail. And so I was like, oh, that sounds really cool. Let me DM him. So we were talking a bit, and he would give me ideas. He made thumbnails for me, and he'd actually show me his process behind it. And then he started making his own videos where he does a lot of like Fortnite creative stuff. Like he'll make his own games essentially in Fortnite. So he made his own version of Garten of Banban, or he made like that one meme that was going around about like the cave diving where like people get trapped inside the caves. He made that into a game in Fortnite. And I think right now, I don't know if he wants to spoil a little bit, but he's making a game right now that's kind of very Mario Kart related in Fortnite. So he's puts a lot of effort in this type of stuff. He gets a lot of views for it too, but I think honestly he deserves way more. So he's someone I definitely believe the FTI community should check out. He's passionate. He loves talking about like what he's doing, and like he breaks down his creative process as well, which is something that I really appreciate, especially when it comes to making games like that. So Face Laces, if you're watching this as well, dude, shout out to you. Definitely someone who I think needs more eyes on him.
I want to connect with this friend after this podcast session.
I got you.
I would like to connect with this friend. And then putting the bow on top, and before we get there, I just want to say, because I know he'll be listening from beginning to end, LD, my friend, we cannot go past without mentioning you.
Oh, boy.
Because LD, no matter the man that guy is, he's one of the most devoted, supportive, and loving people in all of our communities. So just a special single shout out to LD. And now putting the bow on top, you got to take this opportunity to close the podcast out by plugging yourself.
Ooh, best thing in the world. I got you. Well, first off, I'll say it too. Shout out to LD. I mean, he supports the hell out of all of our communities, N10 especially. He's been around pretty much since the beginning as well. Say what you will about his gaming abilities and his personal tastes in VTubers. I'm not going to go anywhere further than that.
We won't touch that.
Whatever, we won't go there, but shout out to LD for that. So going back to me, obviously my name is KnightSky. You can check me out on Twitch, on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. I think Instagram actually is at real KnightSky. Everything else is KnightSky or KnightSky0202. you know, I'm always posting stuff everywhere. Twitter, especially, is kind of where I like to shout just other stuff going on, whether it's projects or videos or streams. Instagram is where you get a little bit more behind the scenes stuff of what I'm doing, or if I'm checking out places. Like today, I had a really, really good cheesesteak, and I just had to take a picture of it because it's Philly. It's cheesesteak. What more can I say?
Goes together.
Exactly. Yeah. So check me out there. I'm always either I'm live or I'm always online somewhere. Not chronically online, but I will be online at some point. So check me out there. Hit me up. Say what you will.
FTI Community, we're ending the podcast with the creator of the week, KnightSky. You can catch him on KnightSky on YouTube, KnightSky0202 on X, otherwise known as Twitter, or Real KnightSky on Instagram. Thank you for allowing us to celebrate you this week, my friend. I hope everybody has a safe drive to work if you're listening to this while you're sleeping, or if you're doing both, but don't sleep and drive. It's just as bad as drinking and driving. Good night.
It's true.